What's going on, everybody? It's Joel here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new collaboration between Reebok and Spyder Active. To be honest with you guys, I don't really know a whole lot about the company Spyder, but I do know that they do like outdoor stuff like winter sports, skiing, snowboarding, and in other parts of the world they're a little bit bigger. I actually got a pair of weightlifting shoes straight from Korea. Somebody bought them and sent them over to me, and I actually really like those shoes, but you can't get them, so I didn't really do anything on them, but that's besides the point. Today we're going to be talking about the Nano 13 Adventure Winter collaboration. So when you first get it, the box is actually pretty cool. So you've got the Spyder logo and the Reebok logo. I'm going to try to not blow it out so much, but if you can kind of see in the reflection of the box, there is a spider web all throughout the box. It says Spyder on one side, it says Reebok on the other, and of course there's the tag right there that says Nano 13 Adventure Winter. It does come in unisex sizing, and I got it in a size 10.5 because last year I got the winters in a 10 and I felt like they were kind of tight. So I got this year's in a 10.5. Open it up. You get wrapping paper that is just normal wrapping paper. And then inside of that, you have your shoes, which only come in this one colorway, though there are other Nano 13 Adventure Winters, but they don't come with as much stuff as the Spyder versions do. So here they are. They come in this like Ferrari red and black colorway, which I thought looked a little weird when I first saw it in pictures, and then when I got them in person, they look actually kind of cool to me. They have some interesting textures that differentiate them from like the normal Nano 13, and then even the Nano 13 Adventures and the Adventure Winters. And the main one being the upper. It's got like a neoprene upper that is water resistant. That's pretty much all throughout the vamp part of the shoe. It actually goes on to the ankle collar, and then you've got your vector logo, which, let me see, this is like a mesh, but I think it's just an overlay. It doesn't look like it's breathable. Yeah, it's lined inside, so even though it kind of has this mesh look to it, the silver parts, it's actually just a TPU overlay. And then let's go back to the other side with these little black details that have like spider webs on the lateral and on the medial side, and those obviously are there to give you a little bit more support in those areas. You do have a mid cut with this shoe. Some people are going to like that. Some people have been asking for that forever, like with the unknowns. These are not quite high. They are mid. The normal Nano 13 Adventure Winters are also mid cuts as well, and I think the booty on those is a little bit different. So these actually, they do have like that booty design, and they are gusseted in the sides of the tongue. The material on the ankle collar is that like neoprene, waterproof, water resistant. I'm not gonna say waterproof. And then the lining here is more of a plush, kind of brushed material. Different than the more smooth neoprene. Then the top eyelets are like these plastic TPU pieces, and with the Nano 13 Adventure Winters, you do get a drawstring, or I do think that you only might actually get that on the Spyders. Let me make sure. Yeah, so if you wanted the drawstring, you would need to get the Spyder Adventures. The normal Adventure Winters don't look like they have the little drawstring here. And then that hooks to the bottom here if you want to just secure it, but you can let this thing dangle. I don't know why they didn't do something like that on the Nano 13 Fronings. It just makes a lot of sense to just have it connect right there at the bottom, so that you don't have the excess just flinging around all over the place. Another thing that is specific to the Spyder models is you do get D-rings to lace up the shoe, which is a cool little addition. Obviously it's going to add a little bit of weight, but it looks cool. It looks like a mountaineering boot. And then coming around the back here, you have this little tag that says the science of speed. And then of course we have the lift and run chassis. It's two-toned. There's the little black piece that's on top, or black line that's on top, and then the majority of it, other than that, is black, or red TPU. And then you have this little ring at the back part of the shoe. I don't know what you would want to use that for. Maybe you want to string your shoes up together and carry them along with you. That's the way to do it, or string it to your pack or something. Yeah, you're going to want to use it that way. And then you got the Spyder logo right at the back here. And then this has a different Vium outsole material. So you have the lugs for terrain, kind of a flat heel. And then this is the Vium Evo Trek rubber. And it's supposed to be different than the normal Adventures, but I gotta be honest with you, it kind of feels the same. So I have the normal Adventures here, which I do like. Now, well, I have these normal Adventures out. One thing that I want to talk about is the midsole here, is the Float Ride Energy midsole. And for some reason on all of the different like special edition Nano 13s, the Float Ride does feel a little different. And I felt like on the Nano 13 Adventures, it was actually the softest. It was the most plush. It's the most forgiving one. These ones are actually probably the best ones to run in, followed by like the Nano Classic. But yeah, these ones are noticeably softer in the midsole than the normal Nano 13. And I actually kind of like it. I don't particularly like lifting it, but like, you know, when you have lugs like this and an outsole like this, probably not going to want to do anything too crazy heavy. But I think they are easy to wear, or more easy to wear on the daily than your normal Nano 13s because of that softer midsole. Now, I haven't even tried these shoes on just yet, so that's something that I'm going to have to report back to after I do a workout in these shoes today. But anyways, going back to the shoe, let's take a look at the insole, which is probably the normal Nano 13 insole. Yep, normal Nano 13 insole, but this one has some details that go over all of the special features on this shoe. You've got water resistance, speed lacing, a four-way stretch with neoprene materials, and then the Vium outsole designed in the mountains of Colorado and the streets of Boston. So it's a company from Colorado, I guess. Now, let's take a look at the other shoe to make sure that the details are all pretty much the same. Looks all the same. Of course, you have a little Spyder at the tongue. And then this one has, in the insole, it actually has a Spyder, the Spyder logo. So let's actually just put these on right now, just so I can get a feel of like sizing. So like once again, I'm trending actually towards a 10.5 with all of my shoes, even my Reeboks. Almost everything I wear now is a 10.5. And I feel like these fit like right on them. I'm not even wearing socks and they fit like right on the money to me. A little bit of space. If I were to put socks on, then of course that space would disappear. Yeah, I think this is actually a really good fit. It feels nice. It doesn't feel too cramped in my toes. And I'll stand up real quick. It does kind of feel like that softer Float Ride, but I can't really tell by just like standing up. And then one last thing about these is the weight test, and I've gotta admit that these already feel pretty dang heavy. So I've got a size 10.5, 427 grams, which equates to 15.1 ounces, which is, yes, that is a heavy training shoe. But when you're buying something like this, you're not really buying it to use like strictly for training. This is something that is more of like a specialty training shoe where you're gonna wanna wear it to obviously colder climates because it's insulated, it's water resistant, it's got that mid cut, and this is not something that you bought to wear every day to the gym. Obviously you probably could if you really wanted to, but this is gonna be torture in some of the hotter months, which today is actually like 90 something in Southern California. And I know that I'm gonna be dying wearing these because of how heavy they are and how hot it is outside, but we gotta test them out and see how they do. So I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get over to the gym and then we're gonna try out the Nano 13 Adventure Winter Spyder Active collaborations. All right, so we're back after testing the Spyders, and they performed just about how I thought that they were going to perform. The workout was perfect today for testing shoes. It was 5 rounds of a 200-meter run, 20 dumbbell snatches, and then 20 wall balls. So a little bit of everything, no heavy lifting today, but like I said, these performed just about how I thought that they would perform because they feel very, very similar to the Nano 13 Adventures, which I have actually gotten a pretty good amount of use out of. The midsole is identical, so it's a little bit on the softer side compared to the standard Nano 13 and pretty much all of the other Nano 13s. These ones feel the softest out of all of them. Surprisingly, the Spyders were okay for running. Like, they flex well, they're comfortable underfoot, but you know, obviously they weigh a ton and they are super hot. The second one you can take with a grain of salt because I don't think most people are going to be buying these to wear in 90-degree weather. Like Southern California right now is just burning up right now. But they are definitely heavy and you will feel it. I was noticing it a lot after each set of wall balls, going back to the 200-meter run, and it's just a 200-meter run, but my feet just did not want to pick up off of the ground. But when I started to run, I noticed that these shoes were flexible and they were comfortable. So that's a huge plus on them. So I think if you're like picking these up to use for winter, they should do great. They should be a good like hiking shoe if you wanted to go trekking or hiking. I think that these would fit the bill pretty well. They were stable enough for the dumbbell snatches. Obviously, there's a little bit of squish to them, and the toe spring angle is pretty noticeable on these, like the normal Nano 13 Adventures, not so much on the normal Nano 13s, but it is pretty noticeable on these ones. You don't really notice the knobby outsole or anything, so traction is just fine. Stability, like the ground feel, is just fine in these shoes. But they are just a little bit on the softer side, but if you're doing like the 50-pound dumbbell, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. And the same thing goes with wall balls. Like a 20-pound wall ball is not going to be anything detrimental for the stability of the Nano 13 Adventure Winters. The toe spring angle can kind of rock you forward if you are just prone to going forward for wall balls. But I think, you know, with the 7mm drop, you do get that mechanical advantage. Like I said, these by design, they run hot. So like if you're planning on using these because they look cool for training during the summer, you got another thing coming. These are going to not be comfortable. But if you are looking to get a shoe to use for winter activities, like the name implies, winter adventuring workouts, I think that these are actually going to be a pretty good pick. Now, one thing that, you know, came to mind when I was wearing these shoes is like, they're not going to be super versatile because of how crazy red they are. And in which case, I would probably just go with the standard Adventure Winters, which have this almost same exact colorway, and then I think there's a black one as well. Those ones seem a little bit more versatile, and if you were planning on getting a shoe because you wanted something that was more versatile to wear, you know, maybe on trips or something, then I would probably go with something like that. Unless you were just a real big fan of red and you wear red all over the place, then I think, you know, for me personally, I think the red one looks the best. I just don't know how much more I would wear this outside of the gym personally. But I do think the red one, to me, looks the best. Plus you get, you know, some of the nicer features like the neoprene upper, and then you get the D-rings, which actually, to me, add a lot of character to the shoe. But it's up to you if you think that extra $10 is worth it for those little details. So the Spyders come out on today, which is when this video is going to come up, which is October 19th? Yeah, October 19th. And they retail for $170. I'm not so sure if they're coming to any other market, but I know that's when they come out for the US market. So if you guys have any questions about the Nano 13 Spyder Adventure Winters, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And as always, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.